Okay, so you want to own a clipping marketplace. Other people's videos, cut into pieces by strangers you've never met, spreading across the internet, while you collect a fee for making the introduction. Here's the strange part. In 2019, a 16-year-old kid was editing Fortnite streamer clips on a cracked copy of Premiere Pro on what he calls a really shitty laptop. By 2025, his company had done $7.7 million in sales in a single year, with over 23,000 people working for him, editing videos for clients ranging from Netflix to a crypto casino. And somewhere in that client list was Jimmy Donaldson, MrBeast, the biggest creator on the internet, paying this kid's company to chop up his own videos. Then, in October 2025, MrBeast stopped being a customer and launched a direct competitor. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how a clipping marketplace actually makes money, why cutting up other people's videos became a genuine industry, and why the person who invented this business isn't the one who ended up owning the biggest piece of it. Let's start with what this business actually is, because it's not really a video editing service, it's a three-sided marketplace. On one side, you have brands and creators who want their content spread across TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts without buying traditional ads. On the other side, you have clippers, anyone with editing skills and no audience requirement at all, who take that source footage, cut it into short clips, and post it to their own social accounts. And in the middle sits the marketplace itself, tracking every view across every platform and taking a cut of the value being created between those two sides. There are two ways to structure that middle position, and they're genuinely different businesses. The first is the agency subscription model, the one Anthony Fujiwara built with his company, Clipping. Brands pay a flat monthly subscription, $2,500 to $10,000 a month, sometimes more, for ongoing access to a roster of editors. In exchange, Fujiwara's company pays those editors between $300 and $1,500 for every 1 million views a clip generates, tracked through a central Discord with roughly 60,000 members. The second model is the pure marketplace, the one MrBeast's Vyro runs. No subscription. Creators and brands post individual campaigns with a source video and a brief clip as browse and choose what to work on, and payment is purely per view, publicly cited around $1 to $3 per thousand views, paid out hourly through PayPal, bank transfer, or crypto wallet. One model bundles clients into a subscription and manages a curated editor roster. The other opens the door to anyone and lets the market sort itself out. Here's what it actually costs to be the person clippers, not the brand. Faisal Ali, a 23-year-old clipper based in Pakistan working through Fujiwara's platform, earned $600 making clips for MrBeast's content, and then turned around and hired 2 subcontractors of his own, paying them a percentage of his payout to help him produce more volume. That's the entire barrier to entry in this labor market: a laptop, editing software, and the ability to find a hook in the first 1 to 2 seconds of a clip. No portfolio required, no follower count, no geography restriction. Top earners on these platforms can reportedly make $30,000 to $40,000 a month. But that's the top of a very steep pyramid, sitting on top of tens of thousands of people making far less. So how does the marketplace itself actually make money, sitting in the middle of all this? Here's the mechanism, and it's a genuinely clean spread. Take Fujiwara's subscription model. A brand pays, say, $5,000 a month for access to his editor roster. If that brand's content generates 5 million views that month across all the clips produced, Fujiwara owes his clippers somewhere between $1,500 and $7,500 in payouts, depending on the per million view rate for that campaign. On the lower end of that payout range, the company keeps roughly $3,500 of that $5,000 subscription as gross margin, before accounting for the moderation team that has to review every single clip before it goes live, and the infrastructure needed to track views across every platform simultaneously. That review step isn't optional. Fujiwara's operation uses human auditors to check every post against brand guidelines, and the enforcement is blunt: 2 rule violations, and a clipper is permanently removed from the roster. If a brand rejects a video for any reason, it gets pulled, and the clipper simply doesn't get paid for it. The risk of a rejected clip sits entirely on the clipper's side, not the marketplace's. And here's the number that explains why any of this exists in the first place. Traditional social media advertising runs $8 to $25 per thousand views, depending on the platform. Fujiwara has said 1 million views through his network can cost a client as little as $100 to $1,000, meaning brands are accessing the exact same audience attention for roughly a tenth to a hundredth of the price of a formal ad buy. The reason it's so much cheaper is that it doesn't look like an ad at all. It looks like a fan account posting a clip they liked. As Fujiwara put it himself, people have been trained to skip content that looks like an advertisement, but a clip looks organic, so it performs like organic content, even though somewhere upstream, someone is being paid specifically to make sure it exists and spreads. This is exactly the dynamic that created Vyro. MrBeast was one of Fujiwara's clients, reportedly paying his network around $50 per $100,000 views to get clips of his content. Beast Games and his other shows spread across social platforms with more than 1,000 clippers working on his content at any given time. That's a customer relationship generating real, meaningful spend, month after month, flowing into someone else's company. In October 2025, instead of remaining a customer, MrBeast launched Vyro, built by the team behind ViewStats, his own YouTube analytics company, turning himself from Fujiwara's client into Fujiwara's direct competitor, with early partners like Mark Rober and Alex Earle's brand Unwell already running campaigns on the new platform. The lesson here isn't really about MrBeast. It's about what happens in any marketplace business once one of your biggest customers realizes the actual product isn't your relationships or your brand. It's a repeatable system of Discord servers, view tracking, and payout rails that they can simply build themselves. Here's the failure pattern sitting underneath this entire industry, and it's less about competition and more about what this business is actually built on top of. A clipping marketplace's entire value proposition depends on three things staying stable: the social platform's algorithms continuing to reward this kind of content, the platform's policies continuing to allow it, and regulators continuing to look the other way. None of those three are guaranteed. Clipping has already become deeply intertwined with harder-to-regulate industries. Crypto casinos like Stake.com have used clipping networks extensively to spread what amounts to gambling advertising disguised as organic fan content, and UK regulators, already tightening rules around gambling promotion, have flagged clipping specifically as a growing enforcement challenge. If a major platform decides this content violates its authenticity or undisclosed advertising policies, or if regulators force clear paid promotion labeling on clips the way they already do for traditional influencer posts, the entire cost advantage that makes this business work, looking organic instead of looking like an ad, disappears overnight for every player in the industry at once, not just one company. Let's put real numbers on what running one of these marketplaces looks like using the actual published rate ranges from this industry. Optimistic scenario, you're running a subscription model operation with 50 brand clients, averaging $5,000 a month each, $250,000 in monthly revenue. Your clients' campaigns average payouts near the lower end of the range, keeping your clipper costs around $125,000 a month. That's a $125,000 monthly gross margin, roughly 50%, before your moderation team, view tracking infrastructure, and payment processing costs, which for a global stablecoin paid contractor base can still run meaningfully high given the volume of transactions. Realistic scenario, a new, well-funded competitor enters, exactly what happened when Vyro launched, and starts undercutting subscription pricing or offering better per-view rates to attract the same pool of clippers. Your roster starts drifting toward the competitor, your remaining clients start asking why they're paying a premium subscription when a pay-per-view model exists, and at the same time, one of your biggest client categories gets hit with new regulatory restrictions on undisclosed advertising, cutting off a meaningful slice of monthly revenue in a single quarter. That's the difference between a stable 50% margin business and one where your two biggest assets, your client roster and your clipper roster, are simultaneously being pulled away from both directions at once. So, if you still want to own a clipping marketplace, just remember what happened to the 16-year-old with the cracked laptop. Anthony Fujiwara didn't just build an editing service. He built a repeatable system, a Discord, a payout formula, a review process, valuable enough that one of his own clients looked at it, understood exactly how it worked, and decided the smartest move wasn't to keep paying for it. It was to build the exact same system himself. In this business, the moment your product becomes fully understood by the person paying for it, you're no longer selling them a service. You're just showing them the blueprint.